All right, visuals on your screens right now. We are cutting live to Israel, where visuals are coming in from Yad Vashem. Prime Minister Modi paying tribute to the victims of Holocaust in the Yad Vashem Museum, accompanied by Benjamin Netanyahu. Yad Vashem, established in 1953, is the world's Holocaust Remembrance Centre. And those are the first visuals coming in at this point in time of Prime Minister Modi on his two-day visit to Israel. It's going to be a packed day for Prime Minister, where he first visits a Yad Vashem, visuals of which are on your screens right now. It's a museum in remembrance of the Holocaust victims in Israel. Prime Minister will be then holding bilateral conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu. Remember, Yad Vashem is important both strategically as well as when it comes to asserting India's soft power. Remember, India and the Prime Minister have asserted that they stand in solidarity with the Holocaust victim. Prime Minister reasserted it while in his address to the Israeli parliament yesterday. Yad Vashem is Israel's official Holocaust memorial. It was established in 1953 to honor the 6 million Jews that were killed by Nazis. Those are historic visuals there coming in on your screens right now. Joining me on the show is Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, former Indian diplomat, Middle East expert. Also with us is Major General Sanjay Soy, retired expert in defense and geopolitical happenings in the country. Also with us will be Pathikrit Payan, foreign affairs expert. Thank you very much, all of you, for taking time out. Ambassador, let me begin by asking you, this is a historic second visit of Prime Minister Modi to Israel, and the visuals, of course, on our screens right now coming from Yad Vashem, which is one of the biggest centers of remembrance for Holocaust victims. How important is this visit to the memorial itself for Prime Minister Modi?
Thank you for having me. I have myself visited Yad Vashem in 2004 and have vivid memories of the museum. It is not like any other museum. It's dimly lit and highly evocative in terms of the way 6 million victims, one by one, being screened on the dark walls in a semi-dark hall. It's almost ghastly in terms of the memory it invokes. It's also a pictorial setup where people in various parts of mostly Central Europe who were victims of Holocaust and final solution by the Nazis are remembered. Yad is actually the same word in Hindi, memories. Coming to Prime Minister's visit to Yad Vashem, it would be deeply sentimental for Israelis to have Indian Prime Minister visit the museum. It expresses a sentimental bond with the the movement to have Israel being created because the Jews were persecuted elsewhere and had no country to go to uh, their own. Uh, so that is the basis of Zionism uh, by Herzl. This was a movement in the later part of 19th century, uh, which is central to the whole concept of Israel and migration of Jews from the rest of the world to Israel, Aliyah, as it is called. Uh, of course, there's a counter narrative with regard to Palestine being an already occupied place with residents were Palestinians. It was not a land free to be taken for Jews in Europe. And the problem of uh, Jewish
Right.
persecution in the Occidental world was imposed on the Middle East. But then that is another story. At the moment, Yad Vashem remains very cornerstone of Israeli ethos at a social level, and the memories have been rekindled by October 7 incident, which echoed back to Israelis there being uh, sort of a cornered society with many people that wanted them exterminated. Thank you.
Absolutely. Major General, this is, of course, a historic second visit of Prime Minister Modi since his first visit, which in itself, opened the doors for an India-Israel partnership like never before. But I have to ask you, how strategic is this visit, given the heightened geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, given the other flashpoints that are currently a focus of concern, not just for India, but for the globe? In that context, how important is Prime Minister's visit to Israel?
In fact, Shweta, thank you so much for inviting me. I would say that, as you have rightly brought out, Prime Minister Modi was the first Prime Minister to visit India in 2017, and now there is a second visit. It shows the implications and the importance which India gives to the Israel, and definitely the base for this was already set by visit of Defense Secretary in December 25. So when the Prime Minister visits, a lot of things are already established. And in view of the present geopolitical situation, where India also faces the similar problems as Israel. On the one side, we have Pakistan, on the other side, we have China, and the Bangladesh is also had changed after change of government. The things were different. So a similar thing is with Israel also, where on the one side is Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthi, and Iran is there. So they also keep facing the similar problem of terrorism, similar problems of just sub borders. So our concerns are same. And in the Holocaust also, if we remember, in 1947 also, we also suffered a lot of casualties during the partition. In view of this, in the present situation, India is maintaining a very fine balance where we have visited, like when the highest honor has been given to the Prime Minister by the Israeli Knesset, and in 2017, similar highest honor was given by the PLO also. So, on the one side, we are maintaining excellent relationship with other countries of Middle East, and at the same time, Israel is a trusted defense partner. Not now, right from so many years. I've seen since my younger days. We had a Searcher, Heron, then later on Barak, and the Falcon, AWACS. The number of things, missile system, weapon system, drones, UAVs were there from the Israel, and whenever there was a need, Israel always stood by India and supplied with the weapons and ammunition. And that's why, and I would say that it is not only Israel. in the field of defense, in the agriculture, also drip irrigation, in the field of medical, there things are there. On the other side also, we are also helping Israel in development of infrastructure, whether it is a metro train or Haifa port. Indian companies are involved in development of infrastructure in Israel. Indian manpower are in large number in Israel in their reconstruction and different fields in the engineering, the medical side. So it is a win-win situation for both of us, and India is maintaining its stand of maintaining a balanced relationship between Israel and other Middle East countries. Shweta.
Absolutely. And I think that balance is quite clear. I think Indian Prime Minister, from whichever spectrum of the politics one comes from, accords the respect of not just his Palestinian counterparts, but also his Israeli counterparts. I think one of the rare show of leadership here coming from India, where a Prime Minister can pick up a phone, call up the Israeli Prime Minister, but also speak to the Palestinian side as well as stand up for Palestine. I think we've tried to maintain that very, very fine balance when it comes to our foreign policy. Pathikrit Pine, talking about foreign policy, as I mentioned, there is a lot of annotation and background to this visit. This visit is also coming at a time when we are looking at tensions brewing in West Asia once again. But apart from that, let's talk about the two countries on what they can achieve strategically together. Israel is, of course, one of our bigger defense partners, but there's also possibility of partnerships deepening in other aspects, including AI, water management, and infrastructure collaboration. So there are a variety of sectors where possibly India and Israel can partner further.
Well, you're right. In the area of generic drug manufacturing, Israel is one of the pioneers. The biggest generic drug manufacturer is Teva, which is of Israeli origin. In areas of AI and semiconductors, where you see giant strides are being made by India in terms of ensuring that India becomes a major hub for both AI research and semiconductor manufacturing. There are a large number of niche Israeli companies as well who work extensively in these fields. And I foresee in the near future, you would see lots of Israeli companies also investing in this arena, especially in AI, because AI is not just probably about ChatGPT or Gemini. It is about application of AI, whether it is in aerospace or power sector, or whether it is telecom and other areas where the application-based innovations by the Israeli companies have always been well known. In areas of Atmanirbhar Bharat, of defense cooperation, we all know large number of weapon systems in India have an Israeli, footprint or of Israeli origin. Even talk about air defense system, the LRSAM and the MRSAM are of Israeli origin. Our special forces use weapon systems made by Israelis. But let me also tell you another important aspect. Couple of days back, when the Prime Minister of Israel talked about Hexagon, a new kind of a security framework consisting of at least 6 countries. Why it is important? Number one, when we talk about the India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor, the origin of that would be somewhere in India, one of the ports in India, in the western borders, western coast. And then it goes to the transit area of Israel and that region, Middle East. And then the landing point will be somewhere in Eastern Europe. So the success of India-Europe free trade agreement pivots a lot on the success of India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. And the economic corridor itself will travel across Israel. And therefore, the statement by the Prime Minister of India, where he categorically condemned, number one, all kinds of terrorism. And he mentioned about the 7th October. That is important. And secondly, he is equally making it very clear that while India believes in the two-state theory, while India respects the aspirations of people of Palestine, he is also making it clear on behalf of India that Israel has equal right to exist, because there are countries in that region who want Israel to be exterminated. Another important aspect, that while we do have good relations with Iran, the INSTC, International North-South Transport Corridor, that would be another kind of an IMAC which will come from Russia across the Central Asian region through Iran via into India. While Iran is very important for us strategically, but I think by mentioning Hamas, Prime Minister mentioned Hamas yesterday, By mentioning Hamas, Prime Minister is making it clear that we have good relation both with Iran and Israel, but we are categorically against all kinds of non-state actors, and especially an organization like Hamas, which is funded by the Iranians, which is very clear. On the issue of Hamas, it is very clear that when it comes to Palestine, when it comes to aspirations of people of Palestine, India would always prefer the organization of Yasser Arafat, which is PLO, than the Hamas, because there is a strong possibility that these elements, whether the Hezbollah or the Hamas, will try to create problem in the IMAC corridor. So when it comes to trade, I foresee that in the near future, you might even have a free trade agreement between India and Israel. You might even have the UPI becoming popular in both the countries, applicable in both the countries, which means you can go to Israel and pay in the rupee currency. And I also foresee areas of cooperation which will go far beyond technology or defense, because there is a book called The Startup Nation. In proportion to the population, Israel has the largest number of startups in the world. And India, as a country which has today become has the third largest ecosystem for startups in the world, India realizes that if you have to create, employment and opportunities, economic opportunities for 1.5 billion people, entrepreneurship has to be a norm than an exception.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of experience of Israel in creating a startup ecosystem and environment, how big organizations, how Israeli aerospace industry, Israeli Defense Force actually fund the organizations to create niche technologies. I think there are areas of cooperation which goes beyond everything else. I remember last time when Prime Minister Modi went to Israel, there was a water system which was put up in Connaught Place, Rajiv Chowk, where it actually extracts the moisture from the air to create water.
That's
and
right.
you can drink that water. So there are areas of innovation.
Which is exactly what I was referring to. I think a larger collaboration there as far as water conservation is concerned.